Hi everyone, Namaste. I hope all of you understand the last video class of thermodynamics. So we have completed three classes. So one is about introduction, and the second one is about heat, and the third one is about work. So heat and work both are path functions that we already completed. So path function means whose values depends on the path whatever it is transferred. Now we'll start the state functions. So what are the state function definitions we already completed? State functions are those parameters whose values only depends on initial and final states of the system. So whose does not depends on path, only depends on initial and final state. So there are number of state functions are there: temperature, pressure, volume. So these three are normal state functions. In this chapter, we will study extra state functions like internal energy, enthalpy, entropy, and Gibbs energy. Four important state functions are there: internal energy, enthalpy, entropy, and Gibbs energy. So one by one we will discuss. The first one is internal energy. So internal energy is a state function. Now, what exactly is the statement of internal energy? So internal energy in the meaning it is in the heading statement is a internal means inside energy. That means it is the energy possessed by the system. So any system has its own amount of energy, and that energy is called internal energy. So it is the energy possessed by the system. That is the definition. Internal energy is denoted by U or E. In some books it is denoted with U, in some books it is denoted with E. So both are correct. Either we can take E or we can take U. So these are the internal energy. So the definition is it is the energy possessed by system. So energy possessed by the system is called internal energy. And this internal energy, it is equal to sum of all kinds of energy. It is equal to sum of all kinds of energy. So that means it is not a single energy, it is equal to all types of energy. The value of internal energy is equal to sum of all types of energies like kinetic energy and potential energy. So kinetic energy is due to motion of the particles. So motion means number of types of are there. It can be translational or it can be rotational and it can be vibrational. So all these are the types of kinetic energy. So translational kinetic energy, rotational kinetic energy, vibrational kinetic energy. Similarly, potential energy due to its position, that is due to presence of external field like gravitational field, etc., electrostatic forces. So that means the value of internal energy is equal to all types of energies, sum of all types of energy. It includes translational, rotational, vibrational, or external force like gravitational force or any nuclear force. So all bond energies, all types of energies, on combiningly we are calling as internal energy. So it is the energy possessed by the system. It is equal to sum of all types of energies. So this internal energy value is equal to all types of energy and it is applicable to all gases, solids and liquids. If we are taking for ideal gases, this internal energy must be equal to kinetic energy. Does not include potential energy. Why? Because what are ideal gases? We already completed the states of matter chapter. So ideal gas properties are given by kinetic theory. According to kinetic theory, ideal gas does not containing any forces of attraction. That means it has no external force. It can be gravitational force, it can be electric force, whatever. No any external electric force are there. Those are called ideal gases. That's why for ideal gases, the potential energy can be neglected. Only they contains kinetic energy. That's why for ideal gases, internal energy must be equal to kinetic energy. And we know that the value of kinetic energy in the states of matter chapter we derived, that will be 3 by 2 nRT. So all these are constant values and is the number of moles. That means kinetic energy directly proportional to temperature. So that means for ideal gases, internal energy is depends on temperature. So internal energy is a function of temperature, but for this is only applicable to ideal gases. But for remaining solids, liquids, whatever are there, internal energy is sum of all types of energies. But for ideal gases, internal energy must be equal to kinetic energy. Why? Because in ideal gases, external forces are neglected. That's why we remove potential energy. So these are the statements of internal energy. Now you know the definition. It is the energy possessed by the system. So any system has its own amount of energy, and that energy is called internal energy. Suppose our body is also one system. So we have some amount of energy. Every body has its own energy. But the problem is we cannot calculate what is the energy possessed by the system. So any system's energy, suppose it is a pen, it has some mass, so it has some energy, and whose energy cannot be calculated. So it is impossible to calculate internal energy, and also it is not required for us to calculate. Why? Because thermodynamics chapter only deals with change in energy. So we have to identify change in internal energy, not the exact value of internal energy. So we cannot calculate, or it is not required for us to calculate. So we have to calculate change in internal energy. So the change in internal energy is given by first law of thermodynamics. The first law of thermodynamics is related to internal energy. First law of thermodynamics. So it has number of statements are there, but whatever totally first law of thermodynamics is a concept of conservation of energy. So first law of thermodynamic concept is a simply concept of conservation of energy. So energy conservation, we all know that energy neither created nor destroyed. That is the simple statement. So the first law of thermodynamics says that the internal energy of an isolated system is always constant. So the internal energy of an isolated system is always constant. Internal energy is constant. So only the energy can change from one form to another form, but the value of energy must be same. Another definition, or the change in internal energy is equal to heat and work transferred. So these are the two important definitions. The internal energy of an isolated system is always constant, and the change in internal energy is equal to heat and work transferred. So as I told, internal energy direct value we cannot determine, we can only determine change in internal energy. The change in internal energy we can represent it with delta U, or also we can take delta E, U or E, whatever we can take. So delta U is the change in internal energy. So according to first law of thermodynamics, its value, change in internal energy, is equal to amount of heat and amount of work transferred. So delta U is equal to Q plus W. So it is the formula of mathematical formula of first law of thermodynamics. Delta U is equal to Q plus W. So you know that Q is heat and W is work. So both heat and work we already completed. Heat is the mode of transfer of energy when there is a temperature difference in systems. Because work is a mechanical work whose formulas we already derived for irreversible process, reversible process, isothermal, adiabatic, all we are derived formulas. So the amount of heat and work must be equal to change in internal energy. The first statement says that internal energy of an isolated system. Isolated means it is adiabatic, heat does not change. If you are not doing any external work, the change in internal energy is 0. That means internal energy is always constant. For isolated system, internal energy must be constant, or the change in internal energy is equal to heat and work transferred. So this is the first law of thermodynamics. So first law of thermodynamics is related to internal energy. We already completed zeroth law. Zeroth law of thermodynamics related to thermal equilibrium. And two systems are thermal equilibrium with the third system separately. The remaining two systems also thermal equilibrium. So that is the zeroth law, and internal energy relation is first law. This is nothing but conservation of energy. Energy is always constant, only can change from one form to another form. So internal energy can be in the form of heat or in the form of work. So this is the first law of thermodynamics. So as I told, internal energy is a state function whose values depends on initial and final state of the system. But this does not depend on path of the system. Since it is a state function, if the process is cyclic process, what is cyclic process means? We already discussed. Any system is return to its original state. Suppose A, B, C, D. System is moving from A to B, B to C, C to D, again D to A. So here initial state is also A, final state is also A. So when initial finals are same, the final one is initial value will be 0. So the change in state function, not only internal energy, any state function, it can be enthalpy, it can be temperature, pressure, volume, entropy, Gibbs energy. Any state function, the change must be 0 for cyclic process. So for cyclic process, the change in internal energy must be 0. Why? Because internal energy is a state function which depends on initial and final states. When both states are same, change will be 0. So for cyclic process, internal energy is 0. Also for isothermal process, we know that isothermal means temperature is constant. So before I told that if the system is an ideal gas, for ideal gases, internal energy is a function of temperature. Why? Because for ideal gases, internal energy is equal to kinetic energy. Because kinetic energy is directly proportional to temperature. So hence, if the process is isothermal and the system is ideal gas, again delta U must be equal to 0. So the change in internal energy will be 0 for cyclic process and also for isothermal process of a ideal gas. So this two must be remembered. Delta U will be 0 for the two process, isothermal and cyclic process. According to first law, delta U is equal to Q plus W. If you are using isochoric process, if the process is isochoric means volume is constant. When volume is constant, the work will be zero. Why work will be zero? You already seen that in isochoric, volume must be constant. Work formula, work is equal minus Px into delta V. So delta V is the change in volume. In isochoric process, change in volume will be zero. So 0 into axial pressure will be 0. So for isochoric process, work will be 0. If work is 0, then delta U is equal to only Q, since work is 0, and we represent with QV. So QV means at constant volume. So for constant volume, the change in internal energy is equal to heat at constant volume. Hence, internal energy is also called heat at constant volume. In most of the questions, they don't mention internal energy. They always mention the value of heat at constant volume is this much. So, heat at constant volume, which is equal to change in internal energy. So, internal energy, other definition, heat at constant volume. And this heat at constant volume formula, we already derived. We know that Q heat is directly proportional to change in temperature. If proportionality we are taking to equal, will come on constant, that is the C into delta. If you are using M here, this is called specific heat capacity. If you are using number of moles, it is called molar heat capacity. If this we are taking as V, and this also we are taking as V. So, in place of QV, you can write NCV delta T. So, that's why the formula of delta U is equal to N into CV into delta T. Nothing but it is a function of temperature. The temperature difference is 0. The total is 0. So, internal energy is a function of temperature. So delta U is equal to QV, heat at constant volume. Heat at constant volume formula, number of moles into molar heat capacity at constant volume into change in temperature. So these formulas are important. Remember these formulas. So this is for isochoric process when work is 0. If it is an isobaric process, so work also we have to take into consideration. So delta U is equal to Q plus W. So that is about internal energy. Now here the problem is, so we said internal energy, change in internal energy is equal to heat at constant volume. Heat at constant volume. So at constant volume, how much heat passed is called internal energy. But in chemistry, most of the chemical reactions does not take place at constant volume. They will take place at constant pressure. So chemical reactions mostly takes place at constant pressure, not at constant volume. So internal energy is a state function which is related to heat at constant volume. But in chemistry, we always use at constant pressure because most of the chemical reactions will be takes place in an open vessel. The vessel is open, volume is not constant, pressure will be constant because atmospheric pressure we are taking. So that's why for all chemical reactions we use constant pressure as a factor, not constant volume. So that's why we have to use another state function, not internal energy. So internal energy actually it is a physical term. It's mostly useful in the physics. In chemistry, in place of internal energy, we use another state function. That state function is called enthalpy. So enthalpy is another state function which takes place at constant pressure. Because in chemistry, whenever we are observing, mostly we use enthalpy term in place of energy. Ionization energy, also we use ionization enthalpy. Electron gain enthalpy. So enthalpy is also energy term. But what is the difference actually between energy and enthalpy? Energy is at constant volume, whereas enthalpy is at constant pressure. Because in chemistry, most of the reactions takes place at constant pressure. Hence, we use enthalpy term in place of energy term. So second state function is enthalpy. So enthalpy is denoted with letter H. So enthalpy is the another state function which is represented with letter H. Now it is the amount of heat transferred at constant pressure. So how to derive it? We are taking first law of thermodynamics, delta is equal to Q plus W, where delta U is the change in energy. We can write U2 minus U1, which is equal to Q. Since we are deriving enthalpy, we are taking heat at constant pressure plus work formula we know that minus Pex into delta V. So from this U2 minus U1 is equal to Qp minus P into delta V. Delta V formula we can take V2 minus V1. So Ex we can neglect it. So P into V2 minus V1. Since work formula is equal pressure into change in volume. So we can take this as PV2 minus into minus will be plus PV1. So from this Qp is equal, if this minus PV2 will come this side plus PV2, so we can write U2 plus PV2. And this minus we are taking common, this will come this side minus U1 plus PV1. So heat at constant pressure is equal to U2 plus PV2 minus U1 plus PV1. So it is U plus PV term. This is also U plus PV term. Here this U plus PV term we are taking with one letter H. So H is equal to U plus PV term. Now this is U2 plus PV2. That's why we can take as H2 minus U1 plus PV1. This we can take as H1. So this is equal to delta H. So this is nothing but heat at constant pressure. So the heat at constant pressure we are calling as delta H. Delta H is equal to Qp. So as I told, internal energy is the amount of heat transferred at constant volume, whereas enthalpy is the amount of heat transferred at constant pressure. So both are amount of heat, but one is at constant volume and one is at constant pressure. So write this derivation. So Qp is equal to delta H, and here H is nothing but U plus PV. So from this we can write enthalpy value is equal to U plus PV. If this we are writing with delta H, change in enthalpy is equal to change in internal energy plus delta PV. This delta H is equal to delta U plus. This is a PV for ideal gases. PV is equal to nRT. So in place of PV, we can write delta nRT. So this is the relation between enthalpy and internal energy. The relation between enthalpy and internal energy, delta H must be equal to delta U plus delta nRT. Since PV is equal to nRT applicable to gases, so this formula is also applicable to gases. That's why I am representing with letter Mg. That means gas. Here the value of delta Mg is equal to gaseous products minus gaseous reactants. The value of delta Mg formula, gaseous products minus gaseous reactants. So whenever reaction they are giving and asking the relation between delta H and delta U, so we have to identify delta Mg. So delta Mg applicable to gases, the number of products of gas minus number of reactants of gas. If this delta Mg value is 0, then if this value is 0, 0 into something will be 0, delta H is equal to delta U. If this value is positive, if delta Mg is positive, then delta H greater than delta U. If this value is negative, the delta H is less than delta U. This relation is most important. In most of the questions, they will give chemical equation and always ask for relation between delta H and delta U. So delta H and delta U relation based on delta Mg. Delta Mg formula, gaseous products minus gaseous reactants. For example, we are taking a reaction N2 gas plus 3H2 gas produce 2 NH3 gas. So in this reaction they are asking the relation between enthalpy and internal energy. So first we have to determine delta Mg. Delta Mg, gaseous products minus gaseous reactants. Here the product gas moles are 2. So number of products minus 2 and reactants. This is 1 hydrogen, 3 hydrogen. Total reactants will be 4. That will be minus 2. So when delta Mg is negative, the relation delta H less than delta U. Similarly, another equation, calcium carbonate on decomposition, calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide. So this equation, calcium carbonate solid on decomposition producing calcium oxide solid plus carbon dioxide gas. Here what is the value of delta Mg? Product minus reactants. But remember, so this only applicable to gases. So this is a solid. We cannot take only for gases. One gas of product. 1 minus reactant. There is no gas of reactant. So 1 minus 0. 1. That means positive. And delta Mg is positive. So delta H greater than delta U. So like this, number of questions. Most important formula this one. Relation between enthalpy and internal energy. Also remember, sometimes they will ask not internal energy enthalpy relation, they will ask heat at constant pressure and heat at constant volume. So they will give heat at constant volume. Then what is the heat at constant pressure they will ask. So internal energy is the heat at constant volume, enthalpy is the heat at constant pressure. So write these formulas. Okay, right. So heat at constant pressure, heat at constant volume. So we completed two state functions. One is the internal energy, another one is the enthalpy. So difference between these two, very simple. As I told, one is at constant volume, one is at constant pressure. A simple example, if we are cooking a food, so we are cooking a food, suppose in a cooker, pressure cooker. In pressure cooker, so we close the whatever the pressure cooker is there. So whenever it is closing, its volume is constant, but pressure can be changed. By passing heat, pressure can be increased. So in pressure cooker, in closed flask, so pressure is changing, volume is constant. So at that constant volume, how much heat we are passing for the cooking food? So that we are calling as internal energy. So internal energy is at constant volume, and volume is constant. how much heat we are passing, that is called internal energy. Same like if we are in the open flask, we are cooking food. When our flask is open, when our cooker is open, here volume is not constant, pressure is constant, pressure does not change, pressure is constant. So at constant pressure, how much heat we are passing for the cooking of food is called enthalpy. So enthalpy is at constant pressure, how much heat we are passing. Internal energy is the amount of heat passing at constant volume. So one is at constant volume and one is at constant pressure. So remember this both. So the relation already told, delta H is equal to delta U plus delta Ng RT or delta nRT. So G represents only applicable to gases. So this is the important relation between enthalpy and internal energy. Now in the last class, I told about heat capacities. Specific heat capacity, molar heat capacity. The specific heat capacity applicable to 1 gram mass, whereas molar heat capacity applicable to 1 mole of the substance. Here we already completed one formula, Cp minus Cv is equal to R. And this formula we derive now. How this formula is came? See this, delta H is nothing but heat at constant pressure. Is equal to delta U is nothing but heat at constant volume plus delta nRT, NGRT, nRT. So G represents simply gas. Now QP, heat capacity formula, N into Cp into delta T. So why? Because already formula I completed. Q is directly proportional to change in temperature. Q is equal to constant into delta T. If you are taking for 1 mole of substance, we are taking N. If this we are taking at constant P, so heat capacity also at constant pressure. So QP is equal to N into Cp into delta T. So in place of QP we can write N Cp delta T, which is equal to QV formula. So we can tell N into Cv into delta T plus delta N RT. So same internal energy enthalpy relation formula this one. Here see this, N into delta T into Cp is equal N into delta T into Cv plus here N and R are constant. N is the number of moles. Suppose we are taking 1 mole, we can take as 1. R is a constant. N R into delta T. So N delta T can be cancelled. Sorry, write like this. N and delta T we are taking common, and the remaining will be constant R. N and delta T I am taking, and R is a constant. So here N delta T Cp is equal. N delta T we are taking common. N delta T into Cv plus R. So this N delta T can be cancelled. Cp is equal Cv plus R. From that Cp minus Cv is equal R. So the molar heat capacity at constant pressure minus the molar heat capacity at constant volume is always equal to gas constant R. So R value already given in the states of matter chapter. In joules it will be 8.314, in liter atmosphere 0.082, and in calories 1.98 we can take as 2. So Cp minus Cv is equal to R. Formula already given in the second class. Now this is the derivation. So with the help of enthalpy and internal energy, we can derive relation between Cp minus Cv is equal to R. So also I told that Cv is the heat capacity at constant volume. When it is at constant volume, there is nothing but internal energy. Internal energy formula For gases, internal energy is equal to kinetic energy, and the kinetic energy formula 3 by 2 nRT. This is the formula. It is a function of temperature. So 3 by 2 R we can take. So n is the number of moles. Suppose we are taking 1. If temperature is a given value is given, so simply this is depends on 3 by 2 R. So the value of CV 3 by 2 R. This is for when the gas is monoatomic gas. If it is a diatomic or it is a polyatomic, value can be changed. So depends on degree of freedom. The value of constant value will be changed. This CV value, that's why we are taking as F by 2 R. So here F is the degree of freedom. So how many types of rotations possible for a given molecule is called degree of freedom. So this degree of freedom, F value can be 3, it can be 5, it can be 6. 3 is applicable to monoatomic and 5 is applicable to diatomic and 6 is applicable to polyatomic. So that is the CV value F by 2R. I already given this formula in the last class. Similarly, Cp is equal to Cv plus R. That means F by 2R plus R. So the ratio of Cp by Cv is represented with gamma. As I told, it is a Poisson's ratio. The Poisson's ratio is the ratio of heat capacity at constant pressure divided by heat capacity at constant volume. If this value will become 1.66, sometimes 1.67 they will give. So we can take 1.66. This is for monoatomic, 1.4 for diatomic, 1.33 for polyatomic. What is mono, di, poly? I already told. Monoatomic means like noble gases, helium, neon, argon, all are single atoms. Atomicity is 1. Diatomic like H2, N2, O2, all are linear molecules. And also remember, CO2 is a polyatomic. There are actually 3 atoms are there. But actually CO2 is a linear molecule. All linear polyatomic molecule we can take as diatomic molecule. Remember, all linear polyatomic molecules. CO2 is a linear. Since carbon dioxide structure, all you know that C double bond O C double bond, linear molecule. Even it has a triatomic, but it is a linear. So all linear molecules we can take as diatomic. So hence it is also applicable to CO2. In polyatomic molecule, example SO2, so it is not linear, and H2O, any other molecules like O3, etc. So all these are polyatomic molecule. So this is the ratio of Cp by Cv. Value is equal to gamma 1.66, 1.4, 1.33. So this is about enthalpy, internal energy. So two state functions we completed. One is the internal energy, another one is the enthalpy. So internal energy is the energy possessed by the system. Its exact value we cannot determine. We can only determine change in internal energy. So the change in internal energy is equal to heat and work according to first law of thermodynamics. And remember, for cyclic process, all state function, even in enthalpy, delta H is also 0 for cyclic process. And also for isothermal process also, delta H is 0. Like this one also. For cyclic process, delta H is 0. And also for isothermal process, delta H is again 0. Same like internal energy. So cyclic process delta U 0 for isothermal process delta U 0. Same like for cyclic process delta H is also 0. For isothermal process delta H is also 0. Since both are state functions. What we can remember? So delta H is equal to delta U plus delta N3 RT. So whenever it is an isothermal process, so delta U already 0 for isothermal process because it is a function of temperature. Again, this is also, so number of moles we are taking constant. N R into delta D we can take. For isothermal process, this is also again 0. So delta H will be 0. So for isothermal process, delta H is 0. For cyclic process, delta H is 0. Remember these two formulas.